Hello, wonderful world. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing. And today I want to talk to you about liminal space. And I want to talk to you about liminal space through multiple lenses. It's something we all experience. It's becoming more of a buzzword, and I want to help bring it into our focus and give it a little bit of support through astrology as well as shamanism and just our day-to-day living. And you say, well, what is liminal space? Well, it's something we've all experienced. If you've ever graduated, if you've ever gotten married, if you've ever had children, if you've ever had a loss in your life, if you've ever switched a job, switched schools, moved a house, these are all things, these actions create liminal space. And what this liminal space is, it's the space between. It's between the ending that happens, and it's between the beginning. And why I'm bringing this up is because collectively, we are experiencing strong liminal space. Astrologically, we talk about going into the age of Aquarius. While we're in that buffer zone going between Pisces and Aquarius, between these two worlds of the dream, the fantasy, the mystic, and the vision, going into more of a working towards society and betterment and technology, which we are literally experiencing right now. If you are using AI at all, or if it's using you, you are quite aware that technology is on the rise. But back to liminal space. Why I want to bring it up is liminal space for human beings is usually very, very, very uncomfortable. And why is that? Because this liminal space is a creation of usually a thing that you don't know. So say you were married, right? Or say you weren't married. Say you start off, all right, I have not been married, but I'm about to be married. You hear about people getting cold feet, right? And especially those who have never been married, because what's it like? What is marriage like? Is everything going to change? Is the person going to change? Am I going to change? Am I going to be able to handle the living situation? All these fears and these worries kind of creep up because you've never experienced it. And as you get closer and closer, the change is coming, but you still don't know what it's going to look like. And so that in between, like knowing I'm going to get married to getting married, there's the space in between. It's the same with, say, graduating. Like you're graduating from school, you're finishing school, and you've known it for a long time. What is it like not being in school? What is it like being away from your friends? A birth of a child is a really good one. For the first one, you know your life as it is. Maybe you've taken care of children other than your own, say you haven't had one, and you know you're gonna have a child, haven't had a child, you have that 9 months where you realize, oh, this is the last time I'm gonna not be alone, but like not be accountable or connected to somebody and something that will need me. And what does it look like? How is the birth going to be? How will I be as a parent? Will the kid like me later on? All these worries and fears right in that space. And there's also good things too. There can be really good feelings like curiosity and excitement. It doesn't have to all be bad, but it's a little uncomfortable for us because we don't know. And moving into the astrology, so those are some examples, right? We are experiencing this collective right now, not only in that big, the big ages. It takes like 2,000 years to switch from the age of, in this case, it's going to be Pisces to Aquarius, and then it'll be Aquarius to Capricorn, which we will not see in our lifetimes. We're having a lot of our outer planets that move fairly slowly, so they're not just whizzing around the sky and the signs. They are going to be making some major, major, major shifts in the next year to year and a half. And you go, well, of course things are always changing, Jennifer. Let me break it down for you so you can understand some of the big major changes and just energetically what that is going to feel like collectively. So if you study or listen to astrology, everyone's been buzzing about Pluto. Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn since 2008, moved back and forth, and it's there right now again, and it's officially moving out of that sign, Capricorn, of Earth and practicality. That's it. It's done November 20th this year. So that's a long swatch. And the interesting thing about this planet, it takes 10 to 20 years to go through a sign. It just so happens it's going to be moving into Aquarius this November and staying there for pretty much 20 years. It's got the long haul there. And so this is a very collective impact. Of course, it's impacting you and me in our charts in certain ways, but this is a big swatch because it's when Pluto comes through, it's like, I'm going to do a deep change, and it's going to be slow, but it's going to be intense sometimes. It always is. And so that's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years after this November 20th. Wow. And I'm going to make notes. It was going from an earth sign to an air sign. So that's something that's grounding, more material, more practical, into more ideas, more social thoughts, more technology, as we just kind of talked about with AI. There's going to be a lot of focus on AI, and it's going to get pretty interesting as Pluto really starts to go through Aquarius, because it's touched base a few times, but not officially gone through. So that's one outer planet that moves really, really slow and is making a change. So that's the start this November. Then we have in March 30th, 2025, this is the first time Neptune, another slow-moving planet, will move out of Pisces. It has been in Pisces for 14 years. So again, another very slow-moving planet, making its deep changes in a water sign, moving into a fire sign, Aries. So bringing out our dreams, we were in kind of dreamland, kind of in mysticism. This is when astrology really kind of picked back up again. It's going to get a little more practical with our dreams, our visions. Aries is about getting things done, moving forward, getting what our needs are met. So like maybe we're going to be starting to take action on those dreams we were having in those 14 years and really going for it. We'll see. The next planet we have, and this is not as slow moving, but it's got a little bit of impact, which is Saturn, 2.5 years. Saturn's going to do its initial dip in to Aries as well, May 25th, 2025. And so again, moving from a water sign that's a little more dreamy and trying to, we're trying to build structures for our dreams, might be a little bit hard, kind of reassessing them, taking out the old foundation. When it gets into Aries, it's going to want to get things done. And so it's going to be kind of heated up and driven. It's going to not be as, Saturn is never fast. Let's put it out there. But it's going to try and really, again, ask you to also make boundaries for yourself, like what you need and you want. And now you have to remember how this impacts your chart is going to be very different than another person, because it's where it's landing in your chart, where the houses are that it's going to be shifting into. These are where these changes are going to be happening for you. And then the last, they call it outer planet or slower moving planet, is Uranus. It takes 7 years to go through a sign, and it is going to be dipping in for the first time into Gemini in July 7th, 2025. So it's been in Taurus for, almost 7 years now, doing its slow thing, really trying to change up again our resources. It's an earth sign, a material, how we value ourselves. All those things have been kind of getting worked over, being asked to really radically change them, because Uranus does not mess around. It really brings that change quickly. And when it shifts into Gemini for the first time, it'll be really interesting to see how people start communicating and connecting, because it's kind of a radical shift. And there is, it has a pattern within the United States, but I will not talk about that right now, of what happens when Uranus goes into Gemini. But so that is another air sign. So we have 4 planets that are slow moving, that make long-lasting, deep impacts, all shifting signs within the next year. Now, 2 of them will be moving back and forth, well, all 3. And so I looked, when will they officially all be in those signs? And that's April of 2026. That's really, like a year and a half, we're going to be going through this limbo. Pluto will be holding strong. It's not going back and forth anymore, but those other planets are going to give us tastes, and there's going to be a lot of change, and we're going to get uncomfortable here, because we're going essentially right now from a more receptive yin energy, like how can we build, how can we grow, to like, let's get it out there, let's get it done, because earth and water are receptive, fire and air are outward and getting things done. So we might notice people are getting a little more aggressive, or getting just a little more out there, putting that energy out there and forth. And so what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? Well, I don't know your chart. What I can say, though, is we're all about to experience some big changes on a personal level and collectively, because the Pluto and Neptune and Uranus, really, they so much dramatic, they dramatically affect the world's whole energy. And so we're going to be asked to be doing stuff a lot differently. There's going to be a lot of changes. And do I know what they are? Guess what? No, I don't. These aspects that we have right here, it's only going to happen once. No aspect ever reoccurs and ever. Like, yes, these planets have been in these signs before, but not at the same time that the other ones are in the other ones. And for all I know, I have not calculated it, but the fact that this many slow-moving planets have shifted all within a year and a half is probably very nominal how many times this has happened. So we're being really asked to dig deep and to do some serious changes collectively and personally. And so what I was trying to say is, like, it's okay. Take a deep breath. Try to take the opportunities, if some of these changes seem a little scary, to learn from them, to be kind to yourself, to be kind to the people around you, because they're going through it too. Maybe not the exact same way, but how can you maintain your boundaries while still being compassionate? That's what I will say, because with all this liminal space, we get really uncomfortable, and we get really uncomfortable, we get really uncomfortable, and then the change happens, and then we realize maybe it's hard right thereafter, but then after you deal with it for a little while, you incorporate it into your life, it becomes commonplace. It's no longer uncomfortable or unknown. It's part of your routine. But don't worry, there'll always be more shifts. But in this case, this is a lot of shifts. And this doesn't account for, especially in astrology, your personal chart, your personal transits, all that other stuff. And you may have many more after that, or a lot right now. I don't know. But what I can say is, hold on, collective, and be kind. And from a shamanic perspective, we can really sit back and say to ourselves, it's okay to surrender to this space. It's okay to not know. It's okay to not do. And especially because these energies that we're shifting from is in a space of maybe not doing, but like being more passive, and then going into, once the shift happens, to being more active, to really allowing yourself to just, I guess the word would be surrender, and just see what happens. Again, don't be a doormat, but see what happens. Do not fight and do not kick and scream when the universe is telling you this is going to change, because I'm going to change no matter what. The universe will make the change no matter what or how it wants to, it see fit to it, whether we think we have control of it or not. And sometimes the easiest thing is just to jump under the wave and then pop back up, or some people would say float on top. I guess that would be the surrender, but really not fighting what is to come, and to honor that it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's human. With that, I hope that helped just a little bit talk about liminal space. It definitely is in the air astrologically, and I hope that if you like what I do, you can hit like or subscribe. You can check out my website. I do astrological readings, I do oracle readings, and soon I will be putting on some shamanic offerings as well, soon to come. And that's it. May the plants ground you and the stars guide you. Ciao for now.